So I'm really craving a shrimp po' boy, so let's knock one out. I still got the oil, so I'm gonna give this oil a final farewell. Let's fry some shrimp in it. I'm gonna get it up to 350. As you can see here, I have the beginning stages of a breading station. I will need some egg. We got a nice bun. These are some beautiful shrimp from my seafood market. Nice roll that I'm going to use, but first we're going to start off by making kind of like a fake remoulade. I know this is not traditional by any means, but this is how I like to make it in just a pinch. It's going to be mayo, a little bit of sriracha. You don't need to necessarily do that. You could use any hot sauce you want. A little bit of lemon juice. Sorry, I don't have any fresh lemons. And then a bunch of Cajun seasoning. You could add shallots. You could add jalapenos. You could add so many other things to make it a traditional remoulade. But I'm just trying to make a Cajun spicy mayo to go with this in a pinch here. You can make it however you want. Mix that up, see if you like the flavors. If you don't, add a little more. I'm going to add a little more of the Cajun seasoning. And then once you get that to a point where you're happy with the overall flavors, I'm going to come in, I'm going to add a little salt, I'm going to add a little pepper. And that's all you really need to do here. It's very simple. You can go more traditional if you want, but this was a simple 5-minute sauce. And I'm going to throw that into my fridge until we're done. After I have the shrimp peeled, I'm going to just dry them off. You want them really dry going into your breading station. Any liquid on them will just kind of screw that up. You need eggs first, so I'm going to whip up some eggs here, and then you got flour, you got breadcrumbs. I'm using a mix of panko and regular breadcrumbs, and I also have a little of the Cajun seasoning in the flour and the breadcrumbs, just for some extra flavor. First off, you just do it real simply. You just drop those shrimp right in the flour, toss them into the egg, and then toss them into the breadcrumbs. Mix them around a little bit. Try to keep a hand dry just so you could really pat them down. If they're not looking like they're adhering well, you can put them back into the egg wash after the flour part and kind of double coat them, but that's all you're looking for right there. Nice, even coating. So just go ahead now and do that with the rest of your shrimp. You could also beer batter these if you want, and that would also be delicious, but I was trying to just keep this relatively simple. And now we're going into the oil. I already have the basket in, so you don't really need it, but I don't want to lay them on the basket and then drop them in and risk them sticking, so I'm just using the basket kind of as a guide to keep them from floating to the bottom, but just drop these in. They'll float most of the time, and they usually don't stick to each other. The outer layer, the breadcrumbs, the egg, cooks real rapidly, so you don't really need to worry about them sticking. And 3 or 4 minutes in here, and you're looking great. Shrimp can be overcooked real easily, but you could also eat them slightly undercooked. So as long as you're getting good quality shrimp, just get them to the level of brownness you want, and you should be good to go. Around 3 or 4 minutes. If they're looking real under, if you want to cut one and test it out, go right ahead. If you're not comfortable with raw seafood or undercooked seafood, that's totally fine. But you could usually tell by the color brown, like right about there, that these are good to go. So I'm going to pull them out, let them drain as always. After about 15 seconds, I'm going to put them onto a paper towel for the excess oil to come off. And while they're hot, this is when I'm also going to hit them with a little bit of salt. The rest of this po' boy is just going to be tomato and lettuce, so I'm going to cut up a tomato here. You can tell this knife is real dull, so apologies for that. I should have this sharpened better. Tomatoes are a great test, as you can tell, if your knife is sharp enough. I'm just going to have slices of them so they could slide in between the bread and the shrimp real nicely. And now we're just going to go ahead and dress up this bread. Put as much of that mayo, remoulade you want on there. I like it real heavily. I'm going to top a little on the shrimp at the end as well, so make sure you save a little extra, also to dip in if you want. But just get that all nice and in there. Try not to throw it onto your board like I did, though. After you get as much as you really want on there, we're going to lay the lettuce down. I like the lettuce at the bottom just to kind of hold everything together. If you put it at the top, it's just going to kind of fall off. Then go ahead, add your shrimp in, get as many as you can. Po' boys always kind of fall apart. The shrimp fall out. They're a messy sandwich to eat, so just pile them on there nice and big. If you can keep as many in there as you possibly can, great. After I get those all in, I'm just going to kind of shove those tomato slices down into the side. And you've done it. This is a very simple po' boy. I know it is not traditional in any sense, so all of you New Orleans people, don't come at me. This is just a delicious sandwich, though. You can call it a fried shrimp sandwich if you don't feel comfortable calling it a po' boy, but I think it accomplishes the overall flavor profile and the gist of what a po' boy is. And it looks beautiful. You know, this is just a great sandwich for, you know, a weekend afternoon. It doesn't take very long. I knocked this out in probably 15 minutes. So go ahead and make yourself one of these. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you like the sauce also, but definitely recommend making one of these sandwiches.